Let's talk about it.
Like epilepsy is already a really big part of my life, and having to deal with that by myself at such a young age was definitely hard. I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 12 years old in 7th grade. I literally just fell down to the ground. My legs went numb. I couldn't feel them anymore. And I just thought it was me being clumsy. I was a pretty clumsy kid, so didn't really think much of it, but it kept happening. And that's when my parents realized that something was wrong. They took me to the doctor, and through that, we did some diagnostic testing and found out that I was diagnosed with epilepsy. This wasn't something that we had much experience with. Because of that, I definitely felt a lot of embarrassment about my diagnosis. While my friends were, kind of exploring their new independence, I was kind of restricted because of my diagnosis. For example, I couldn't learn how to drive because of my epilepsy. Just in general, it was a really tough time for me to kind of deal with this diagnosis while also transitioning to this new part of my life. All I could think about were seizures, medication. That was all I was focused on. Since I was so ashamed of it, I kind of tried to hide my seizures. So I had a lot of different kinds of seizures, whether that be like falling down or like a tonic-clonic seizure where your arms and legs are thrashing. But I got really good at hiding it, and because of that, not many people knew about my diagnosis. After I was diagnosed with epilepsy, I found out that loud noises was one of my triggers. So dance class was a very loud environment for me, and for a while I had to stop dance because of that. For example, in music class, I would go to music class knowing that I would have these seizures, so that was just really hard for me. I would go in the class, got to the point where I realized that epilepsy wasn't the only part of my life. While it was a big part of my life, there were other things that I could control. So I kind of decided to switch my mindset. Instead, I found a motivation to pursue a career in healthcare and help others who are like me. That's why I'm here now. I'm a second-year health sci student at Queen's. It's super exciting. I'm working towards my goal, which is hopefully working in epilepsy care. Now, 7 years later, I'm seizure-free. Once my seizures were more under control, I was able to return to dance. One of my first years back, I actually did a solo, and it was about my journey with epilepsy, and I wore like a purple costume, which is the epilepsy awareness colors. So dance has always been such a huge part of my life, and while I was, going through everything with my epilepsy, it was a way for me to express myself in a way that words couldn't. So dance is just something that I really love and will always be a huge part of my life, which is what inspired me to start Vivienne Purple, my epilepsy awareness campaign, where I share my story online and spread awareness about epilepsy.